The video that nobody asked for, but you're getting anyways. Wedding planner pet peeves. Part 2. Part 1 was like 3 years ago. Can we call it a part 2 at this point? Any hoodles. As I was scrolling through the interwebs on social media, TikTok, Instagram, etc., you know, all the short form content that's literally plastered on every single social media platform that you use these days. And I was reminded that pet peeves are a thing. And I have them. I have them when it comes to wedding planning. So I figured I'd just share a few of them with you. Because why not? Oh, by the way, my name is Jamie. I'm your online wedding planner. What gives me the right to even have this conversation? I've been wedding planning for like almost a decade. So I feel like I'm like sort of qualified to be making these statements. Also, merch. If you're really excited and want to celebrate your wedding, but you don't want to buy something that says like bride or groom across the front of it, because we all know you're only going to wear that for like 2-3 months tops. Maybe. I mean, you're really not even going to wear it after you get married anyways, and it just becomes landfill fodder, then go ahead and check it out. I'll link it right here and down in the description box below. And while you're down there, you might as well hit subscribe, because every single week I'm bringing you helpful budget wedding planning content from someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Is that a humble brag or is that just fact? I don't know. You tell me. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it. We're going to toss in a little disclaimer up at the tippy top of the video, okay? You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to like the things that I'm saying. You can make different choices than me. These are just my opinions. Thank you very much. The first two have to do with like your chairs. Before you come for me, I'm a budget wedding planner, okay? This is what I do. This is what I help people do. I've been doing it for a long time, okay? Coming close. There is one thing I cannot stand, and that is the Samsonite plastic chairs. You know the ones that I'm talking about? The ones that you sit down and you squeak like crazy even if you like just slightly adjust your body a little bit. It's giving 5th grade graduation in the MPR, multi-purpose room, for those who don't know what that stands for. I can't. And they're not that much cheaper than going with a nicer folding chair if you're renting chairs for your event. If your venue offers them, I'm telling you, it's really not that expensive to go get some different ones, okay? It's really not. And I will help you figure out how to run your budget, how to make ends meet. But for the love of all that's holy, please, let's just move away from something that you saw in your elementary school, okay? Okay. So the next one is kind of like adjacent to that. It's the conference room chairs. They never look good. They never look good, especially with like those elastic covers and then the bows on the back. We all know what they are. We all know. And while admittedly, they're probably a lot cushier than some other wedding chairs, they're still like when the light hits them just right and you can see the little, almond shape from where the handle is and it just glows right on through. We're not fooling anybody, especially when they're like the polyester, like stretchy fabric ones that just like barely stretch down to cover the legs. And the bows, I can't. You're not distracting us. We know what's happening. So if you're trying to ball on a budget, I totally get it. But I feel like we could probably invest like $1.50, $1.85 per chair, right? And just like elevate that look a little bit. And then maybe shave some money off of your dessert bar or your drinks. Because we want whoever sits down at your wedding day to trust the seat that they're sitting in. Either by being sturdier than a Samsonite or just being forward with what they are with the conference chairs. Which leads me to my next pet peeve, gloriously. Short tablecloths. Again, I'm all for balling on a budget. I absolutely am. I think it's really smart. I think there's plenty of ways that we can save. I think that going with shorter tablecloths is not the way to do it. Now, what does short mean? Anything that doesn't touch the floor. Anything at all. Any sort of tablecloth that does not touch the floor, in my opinion, is too short. Most of the tables you rent are not attractive. Let's be honest. They're pretty ugly. And so we want to throw a tablecloth over the top of them so we're not exposing that to everybody, right? So it's just like, yeah, we spent a little bit less on these tables. They're not farmhouse. They get the job done. And we threw this glorious tablecloth over it to give it this really luxurious experience. And we want that touching the floor. Anything above that, no, it's like the table's wearing a mini skirt. And just honestly, it's not appropriate for your wedding. We don't want mini skirts on tables. We need floor length. And then the worst is when you take the Samsonite chairs with the non-floor length linens and you put them together. And then the only thing that makes it worse is when they push the chairs in so far that the tablecloth, like tucks in, so it looks like the bottom of the wrapper of a lollipop, right? And then it just really just shows all the legs. Now, if you're balling on a budget and your venue offers these things and you've already decided to go with them, please do you, okay? Don't just appease some random lady on the internet, okay? At the end of the day, you have to pay your bills, not me, okay? But if you want my opinion, again, nobody asked for it. I'm offering it anyways. There it is. Pet peeve number 2, anything that is monogrammed in a way that is hyper-specific to your wedding. That is not something people will want to keep. And this can either be a favor or a gift to your wedding party, or maybe something you're wearing. Like something that says Mrs. instead of bride. Which one makes more sense a year from now? Okay. Anything that says bridesmaid on it, a cup, a bag, a bracelet. Conversely, anything that says groomsman on it, a cup, a bag, a sweatshirt, a flask. How many men do you know that are going to walk around carrying a flask? Well, first of all, probably not walk around generally speaking. If not, might need to call somebody about that problem. With someone else's wedding date on it. Now, favorites on your wedding day. Candle. Maybe. Sure. Because that's like, that's like a finite amount of time. Koozies. Also very specific subset of people. Maybe. Sure. Pens. Tote bags. No. Wine glasses. No. Steins. No. Any sort of cup, beverage container that is specific to your wedding day. No. Unless they're those people that just like collect your hodgepodge of glassware, which at that point, great, but that is not going to be all of your wedding guests. Trust me, no one's going to be wanting to use your glass from your wedding 7 years from now. We're just creating landfill fodder. I'm probably missing like a bajillion other like customizable wedding favor options. Just know that if it has your wedding date and it's not consumable or has a finite amount of time attached to it, like matches or a candle, then don't monogram it. And then the last one in this category is the custom bachelor/bachelorette style t-shirts. These are all the rage right now. And so I can't quite predict, but I have a feeling that a year after your best friend's wedding, you're probably not going to want to be rocking the custom bachelorette t-shirt you guys had made for when you went woohoo in Nashville. If you know, you know. So unless it's very well designed and very subtle, the likelihood of you and your friends continuing to wear this custom shirt that you got done for your weekend in Vegas is pretty slim to none. But of course, if you want to shop something timeless, go to tilldeathtradingco.com and find your own married merch that you'll probably still want to wear a year or two from now. Probably. I don't know. Your style might change, but I still love them. Next pet peeve is not having a plan. Like just not having a guideline or something to go through. Yes, I know. Those that watch here probably know what's coming next, okay? I don't care if you get your checklist from me. I'm going to link mine right here if you want to. It's the ultimate free wedding planning checklist. Why? Because that's what we named it. Because it's apropos. It has all the links to the videos and different things that you're going to need in chronological order. I'm telling you, it's incredible, but you need some sort of like roadmap. You've never driven to this destination before, and you need to know how long it's going to take you to get there and all of the turns you need to be making. So when couples are like, I don't know, we'll just figure it out as we go along. I love that for you. I love that journey. You still need a map. Okay. You still need a little bit of direction. It could be from advice from people around you that gets a little convoluted because the advice might contradict itself, So might I recommend at least having some sort of checklist and or planning outline from a source that knows what they're talking about. In addition to that, you probably need to have a little bit of budgeting guidance, okay? So the pet peeve in general is not having a plan/planner. I don't care if it's a book. I don't care if it's a binder. I don't care if it's a digital download. I don't care if it's the master plan where I teach you how to plan your own wedding. It's like $29 a month. I do live monthly calls with you guys. I can break down your timeline. I can help you with your budget. We can customize your numbers for you. I literally do that in live time every single month. So I don't care what you choose, but you do need to choose something that offers you a time frame for when things are supposed to be booked and overall budget advice. I don't know why these fingers are still up. An overall budget advice, so at least you have a general idea of how much you can or should be spending in each category. In the beginning, when you first get engaged, it's all sunshine and rainbows. We're super excited. Like all we can think about is how fun this is going to, well, at least for some people, how fun this is going to be, or we're excited to be married, or oh my goodness, we love using the word fiance. And we kind of put the cart before the horse in a lot of situations where we start looking at venues where we're not prepared with a budget, where we don't know how much we should be allocating towards that. And then we kind of just snowball out of control moving from there. It's such a pet peeve of mine. I wish I could catch people before they get to that point, before they book to the venue that's too expensive, that has required vendors that they have to book, and then all of a sudden they're pushed into a completely different tax bracket of weddings. Next pet peeve, stickers on stuff. Specifically candles. It's stickers, packaging, anything. These are the prayer candles from Dollar Tree, I believe. And when imagine this is on your tabletop, okay? And at a certain point, the back of this is gonna be facing somebody, whether you have a round table or you're doing the long banquet style tables, I don't care. This back is gonna be facing someone. And to get these things off, I have owned these for several years. There's a reason I haven't gotten these off, because they just come off in chunks, like in little strips. And so when I show up to your event, regardless of whether it's the prayer candles, whatever it happens to be, and everything is still packaged in plastic, I love you for trying to keep things protected, but I also don't like you right now for doing that to us, because it takes forever to get the packaging off. If you have a box to store candles in that are in a cool, ideally climate-controlled space that's not like super, super hot, if it's, if it's the middle of winter and you're throwing it in the garage, I'm sure it's totally fine. Do that ahead of time. Save us time on your wedding day, or say whomever is doing setup for you. Save them that time on your wedding day so you don't have to deal with the stress of figuring out that setup. Because what you could do is you can get a blow dryer, heat this up, you can soak these for a couple of hours and then just slide them right off, a little bit of Goo Gone, and they're good to go. People setting up for your wedding day cannot do that. And so you're either going to be stuck with candles that have stickers on them, or vases, or hurricanes, or candlesticks. Let's say you thrifted some candlesticks from Goodwill and left the stickers on those. You've now created an absolute nightmare for whoever's doing your setup. Or you just have to accept the fact that people are going to know you spent $3.99 on your brass candlesticks from Goodwill, which is fine, humble brag. I also just recently had a conversation with a wedding planner that I'm training, because I train planners in something called Union Mastermind. And she talked about how the couple wanted to have Orbeez as a part of their centerpieces. And the planner had never worked with these before, and I don't think the bride had tried out like what the centerpiece would look like with them. And so the trial and error of trying to figure out how many Orbeez to put per vase, and it's not like there was a big giant bin that they could put them in to let them soak up all the water and then put them into the vases. So it was a series of trial and error on the wedding day. So I'll take this just like a teensy bit further. Take all of your labels off, take all of your stickers off, unless you want to tell people how much you paid for them or you really don't care. It's not going to be something that's super easy to remove on the wedding day. And try out your centerpieces, please. Try putting them together, try walking around it, make sure you like how it looks, even if you don't have your florals because you're having a florist do it. Just toss some faux florals in the center or a bowl to like kind of replicate where the centerpiece might be, just to make sure that you like how everything is coming together. A super, super centrally placed photo booth. No. Absolutely not. I want that in a corner. I want that off to the side. I don't want it necessarily out of the room or like a 5-minute walk away, because then people are less likely to use it. But obviously it depends on like the overall layout of your venue. But I don't want it sidled up directly to the dance floor. So as people are dancing, they can look over and see the faces that you're making. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't care what you do with your photo booth. I don't care if it's DIY. I don't care if it's a professional. And even the professionals will tell you, let's just put it like, is there a corner we could put it in or somewhere off to the side? Because we want to invite people to have fun. But as you will very quickly find out when you do your engagement photos or your wedding day photos, a lot of people don't like being stared at when they're getting their photos taken. So if you can, just like pop that off to the side, okay? Still in the main area. People still know it exists, but at least it's less of people staring directly at you. Next pet peeve, a well-lit dance floor. And I'm not talking safety reasons, make sure the corridors are well lit. No, I'm talking like bright mega lights that have no dimmer on them whatsoever, no capability of turning them down. I've worked a ton of weddings, an absolute ton of weddings. And I will tell you, undoubtedly, there's a direct correlation with how dark it is and how packed your dance floor is. So if dancing is really, really important to you, let's make sure we bring those lights down low and watch your guests on the dance floor rise, okay? Because just like the photo booth, most people don't want to be stared at when they're trying to be funky fresh, okay? So when you have a well-lit dance floor, again, it needs to be lit well enough for safety's sake so people can still walk around. But when it feels like there's a spotlight on you, unless you're a professional ballerina, you're probably going to be a little bit more subdued and maybe even enjoy it a little bit less because you feel like people can see you and might be watching you better. And if you really want to bust a move, you want the lights to be just a little bit lower. Next pet peeve. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart, and I love you so, so, so much. An inexperienced officiant. I know it's your uncle, and I know you love him very much, and I know he means a lot to your relationship, and I know that you think he's going to tell really good stories, and he's going to be really, really funny, and you think that he's going to bring all of that presence that he brings to your life in front of 150 people, and he's going to deliver this beautifully. I know you think that. I know you do, and I want that for you, and I want to believe that with you. History has shown me a little bit otherwise. And I could probably do story time after story time after story time of all the officiants who are brand new and don't do this for a living. Or maybe they're really well spoken in your family groups, or they're the class clown of the group and they're super funny and you think they're going to be really great at this. And I'm here to tell you that's not always the case, okay? So unless they're like a professor, a pastor, or someone who speaks in front of large groups with some sort of regularity, you need to support them. Okay? It's not just go say whatever you want, go do whatever you want. You're so funny. You're so great. You're so brave. You're so supportive. Thank you. No, we need to give them like a little bit of scaffolding, okay? We need to give them a little bit of a framework. This Provenance is my favorite. And this is totally not sponsored, by the way, but I love that anyone who's holding a microphone on your wedding day, they have an offering for. So whether it's you and your vows, whether it's, your friends or family members giving toasts and or speeches, or your officiant, if they've never done this before, they have offerings for all of those. So again, if someone has a microphone at your wedding day and you want to make sure that they're not just like fumbling about, give them some help. Also, there's the unboring wedding officiant, Mark Allen Grollo. He has a whole YouTube channel that teaches you how to have unboring ceremonies. So he's another fantastic resource. I'm sure we have even more where that came from. But there's a reason that these resources exist. But please, 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 I don't care how funny your college roommate is. I've seen him. I know he's hilarious. But then he starts to feel the pressure of your actual wedding ceremony and spends the entire time reading everything directly from the packet that he has in front of him, and will read really, really fast and then flip the page and will barely look up and make eye contact with everyone and then look right back down. Ask me how I know that. In fact, when we have a newbie officiant, we always plan on the ceremony going shorter because they always talk faster. And that's really rich coming from someone who talks at 2x speed. Next pet peeve I have no solution for, other than like finding the perfect phrasing that sometimes works. Guests who ignore us, or like don't do what we tell them to do. And there isn't really a fix for this. It's not like you as a couple can like warn everyone, listen to the wedding planner. Please don't do that. That would actually make things probably worse. maybe your wedding party, warn them, but not like your entire guest list. The time that this becomes the biggest issue is when it comes to moving bodies for your wedding. So if they're all like hanging out in the back of the classroom and now no one wants to sit in the front row because they're scared of the teacher at your ceremony, that's when we're like, hey, thank you so much for being here. If you wouldn't mind, we'd love to have you come fill in the seats. We've got a couple empty near the front. Let's just kind of go ahead and pack them on in there so the couple can see your smiling faces and the photos look really good. And then everyone's just like, it's okay. I'll just wallflower back here. I'm sure they'll Photoshop some people in there. It doesn't need to be me. Okay, I tried. Or when we're trying to get guests to leave the ceremony space so the family photos can happen there, because that's usually where they happen, and then someone's hanging out with a DSLR or an iPad taking pictures of their own, and we're just like, hey, don't you want some food? Don't you want some drinks? It's so yummy. It's so yummy. You should go get food and drinkies. Okay, can you tell I have a toddler? Please leave the room. And then when we finally get them to the cocktail hour, they don't want to leave it. They're having great conversations. They're meeting up with people they haven't seen in years. It's not like I don't get it, but I will walk up to the same group 3, 4, if not 5 times sometimes to be like, hey, it's me again. We're actually waiting to get dinner service started. So if you wouldn't mind, that's not my first warning. My first warning is something along the lines of, hey everyone, just to let you know, we're getting this dinner started in the next few minutes. So if you wouldn't mind going ahead to take a look at the seating chart placed right over there and make your way on into the reception, that'd be great. Thanks. Second time is usually a little something like this. Hey, me again, just want to let you know we are getting dinner ramped up. So if you could go ahead and find your seat, we haven't done so already, and make it into the reception space, that'd be great. Third time is when I'm like, hey, it's me again. If you wouldn't mind, you can even just carry your conversation in there. We just really need to get the rest of the event going. Then after that, if I have to come by again, I'll just be like, hey, I'm so sorry. We're actually holding up dinner until we have all of the guests in place. Please move. Or like in my previous pet peeves video when people are like, it's okay, I'm friends with the bride. It's okay, I'm friends with the groom. It's okay, they'll want to see me. No, they don't. Or even if they do, I don't know that. I'm not going to risk it and allow you back there. So when I go check on the bride and her eyeballs have been replaced with saucers, wondering how her ex-best friend from high school happened to meander her way into the getting ready space, just being like, hi, what is this? Nope. If you weren't invited, you don't go in. Okay? And last but most certainly not least, really bad internet advice. I've recently started doing TikTok reaction videos that you, as a whole, have really, really enjoyed. And for the most part, it's usually just a bride talking about what she wants to do for her wedding day or what she did for her wedding day that she really likes and really wants to celebrate, and I love that for them. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to take that advice as gospel truth. Okay? Yes, that's a great example. Yes, that's a great idea. But if we haven't filtered it through our plan that we talked about earlier, it might not work for you. I came up with an example, and it might be a really crummy example, but it's the only one I've got at the moment. Let's say you have an issue with your car, and you go on the internet, and someone's like, yeah, my car goes, and I did this, and it fixed it. And you're like, cool, I'm going to try that. It could help your car, or it could not. If you don't have some sort of professionally written outline, timeline to filter that advice through, you could be bombarded by really contradictory advice. Again, please hear me. I'm not hating on couples that go online and talk about what they want to do for their weddings, okay? But if you don't have a baseline, then that could put you really, really all over the place. So as you're consuming wedding planning content, make sure you have at least a couple professionals in there, yours truly included. Get on down there, hit subscribe, to give you like a barometer for like what's a good idea. Give you an outline for what's a good idea. If you don't know how to plan a wedding, you should probably at least get a framework or a skeletal sort of setup from Pinterest or from a trusted vendor online. If you missed it earlier, I'll have the ultimate wedding planning checklist listed down below. It's completely free for you to download and use and plan your wedding because you deserve to plan easy and stress less. That's all we have for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, go ahead and jump on down there, hit that like button, and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride from a professional who actually knows what she's talking about. Thank you very much. And until next week, bye guys.